I cannot take it anymore. I cannot take the tush push discourse anymore. It is apparently the only thing going on in the NFL. We have flags being thrown for muscle flexing and head nodding. We have the most valuable team in the league being held hostage by an octogenarian. Thank you, Jerry. Keep up the great work. We have Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes in charge of an just abysmal, boring offense. And yet the only thing there seems to be any discourse about is a 1-yard quarterback sneak. Just do yourself a favor. Google tush push today. Click that little news tab in Google like I did. And there's just nothing but articles from the past 2-3 days about a 1-yard play. You see it right here. This is just a sample. This is just my first couple of results from the last couple of days. It never seems to end, and I think I have a way that the Eagles can end it. They need to line up on first down on Sunday and just try to run the play the entire length of the field. That's it. I believe at this point, the league is actually telling officials, don't call penalties. I thought at first we were going to have the tush push legislated out of the league. After they weren't able to just ban it with a vote, I figured the Eagles were just going to get flagged every time they lined up. That would be that. No one would be able to run it anymore, and there's no need for a vote. No, now I'm pretty sure that the officials are being told, ignore it. And make it so we can argue this is an impossible play to legislate, and therefore we have to ban it. I want the league to just have to step in now. I want them to have to ban it mid-season. The Eagles should line up on first down and try to run it all the way down the field, force their hand. First down, second down, third down, then fake it on fourth down because that would just be hilarious. But I think this is the only way. The only way forward is to embarrass the league. Philly versus everybody, baby. Hey, everybody, how you doing? Well, that's good. Welcome to BILLADELPHIA. My name is Bill Matz. I'm your director of fun and games for the afternoon. We have my old friend Brenna behind the glass today, even though there's no actual glass. We are in the Xfinity Lounge, broadcasting live from the Xfinity Lounge, and we have some headlines to hit today. Let's lead it off with the Phils. The Phils are actually back home to close out the regular season. Little West Coast swing. They hit Arizona. They hit LA. And now they're starting 3 against the Marlins. Then they'll wrap up with 3 against the Twins. Starts tonight, Chris Sanchez versus Edward Cabrera. Now, I said heading into the weekend, this is a no-lose situation for the Phils, and I'm kind of just going to take it as it comes. They've been playing some really good ball, and worst-case scenario, listen, they're never good in Arizona, and worst-case scenario, the D-backs closed the gap on the Mets, which has happened. The Mets are 1 game up on Arizona, and they're actually, I think, trailing in the tiebreaker to Cincinnati, and the idea of the $400 million Mets missing the postseason, that's delicious to me. But now, with 6 games remaining, it is important to line up this bye, get the pitching staff right, and I want to see this team get right back on track against a couple of teams in the Marlins and Mets that should finish about 20 out of their division. These should be 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 3 scenarios. They should go no worse than 4-2 in these final 6, head into the playoffs playing that great ball they were playing just about a week ago before they took their little pit stop in Arizona. And I'm looking forward to it. I think they should. You got to stay ahead of the Dodgers for that bye. You need at least the number 2 seed. I am looking forward to watching the Phillies over the next couple of days. And it starts tonight. We get Chris Sanchez. It's pretty much a given. Paul Skeens is going to walk away with the Cy Young. But, hey, why not finish second? Let's get a dominant performance, and that'll pretty much be it for Sanchez. Maybe he'll get a couple of innings just to keep him sharp with the bye, but this could very well be the last time we see Sanchez until Red October. So here we go, baby. Phils and Marlins tonight. Let's get this thing back on track. We also have, speaking of places where our teams never play well, the Eagles are actually doing something pretty smart. They are heading to Tampa Bay early to acclimate to the Heat. And we have seen this over the last 2 decades of Eagles football. It just hasn't gone all that well anytime really they play the Bucs, but especially when they have to go to Tampa. The last 4 meetings with the Bucs have been in Tampa. The Eagles are 1-3, and since I called this the low point in franchise history the other day, since the 0-2 NFC title game when they lost to close out the vet, and then the opener of the 0-3 season where they opened the link. It's crazy that the Bucs, I just real they had to go on the road after winning the Super Bowl. That kind of sucks for them. But they came in, they win 17-0. They opened the link with a 17-point victory after they closed the vet with a 17-point victory. Since then, the Birds and Bucs have played 11 times. 8 of those 11 have been in Tampa. The Eagles are 2-6. And when we talk about the Heat, and how it affects the team, it's not as if it's winter up here in Philly, but the heat and humidity in freaking the swamps of Tampa Bay is something to take into consideration. And I go back to this game from 2006. It's pretty disgusting. So if you have a weak stomach, there's always been the rumors that McNabb threw up in the Super Bowl in Jacksonville, but there was no actual footage of it. I think every time he went to Florida to play, he threw up. I remember a regular season game against Jacksonville where they said the same thing happened. But he's actually at the line of scrimmage. The hard cam is on him, and he throws up here in a game that was a tremendous comeback thwarted. If you remember, Westbrook takes a pass 52 yards to tie the game or to take the lead late in the fourth quarter. McNabb was terrible that day. 3 interceptions by Rondé Barber, one of them a pick 6, I believe. It was just horrible. The Eagles erase a big deficit. And then, of course, Matt Bryant hits a 62-yard field goal in the swamp air of Tampa Bay to win the game, which was very, very frustrating after a huge comeback. It was basically like if that Rams game didn't end with a blocked field goal, they make the kick. That's pretty much what happened, except it was 62 in the humidity. This team has always struggled down there. It's just been a thing, especially over the last 4 where they've played all of them in Tampa, 1-3 there, like I said. This is a great move by Sirianni and the organization. This is one of those things they just get right. All right, this is kind of our last hurdle. You know, we've beaten the Chiefs 3 times in a row. Every time we have a primetime matchup against one of these good teams, the Ravens, the Bills, we come out on top. We've beaten Dallas. We're 3-0. Just, won another playoff rematch against the Rams. This is kind of the last hurdle. Tampa is the team that has had their number and given themselves a little bit of an edge. I think that's a pretty damn good call. And finally, for headlines, is it the rapture yet? I was really, really counting on this. I guess it's been a thing that's blown up on TikTok. I'll hear about it in a couple of weeks on Instagram because, I'm a millennial and that's where I get all my TikToks 3 weeks later on Instagram. But I guess a pastor in South Africa has predicted today was the end of the world. And I got to tell you, when I got to work today, I was a little bit disappointed. Not because I don't love this job, but because our elevator is out for inspection. And I was really hoping not to have to climb the 7 flights of stairs to the studio. I realize there are worse things in the world, and my big ass could probably use a little bit of extra exercise. But after a big breakfast and walking in here, I really didn't have climb 7 flights of stairs on my bingo card. And I was just like, well, if it's the end of the world, I won't have to do that. So far, so bad. We are all still here. You are watching, and thank you for watching. Hit that like button. I could use some likes. It makes me feel good about myself. And I'm told, to make matters worse, Brenna, the elevator is up and working again, which is very annoying because I want Charlie to have to suffer as much as me, and he won't be here till like 3:30 at the earliest. It doesn't bother Kelly. It's just another day for Kelly, walking 7 flights of stairs. But I want Charlie to have to do it too. And I got here early enough that I have to take the 7 flights, but he will not. No rapture and no elevator. That was a real disappointment for me today. All right. On the other side, we have some obligatory Eagles. We have more Birds to talk about, and we have some other fun stuff to get to. But I've got to take my first break. It's time to tell you about the Ford F-Series. You know, the Ford F-Series is the best-selling truck in the history of America. 48 straight years. The last time the Ford F-Series wasn't the number one selling truck, Philadelphia was the defending Stanley Cup champions. That's how long it has been. It blends the work-ready toughness with modern-day tech and luxury. The F-Series, all of their models, made of military-grade aluminum alloy, so it's tough, lightweight, and corrosion-resistant. It's got the max recline seat, so you're on the job site, maybe you're on a trip, whatever it is, you're trying to catch a couple of Z's. Bang, you can almost go all the way back, and so you can relax. And the tailgate work surface is the carpenter's dream. It's got a ruler, clamps, and more built right in. The 360-degree camera system helps with trailering, parking, and off-roading. I have taken some road trips with a trailer in which we did not have a camera, and we almost got stuck at a Kentucky gas station because we couldn't figure out how to get the hell out of there. That comes up huge. And the Ford Blue Cruise hand-free highway driving system is available on certain trims. Everybody loves the Ford F-Series. You got to get one for yourself. For more information, visit your local Ford store. While we're here, I got to tell you about our friends at Xfinity. You know we are coming to you live from the Xfinity Lounge. All of our studios here at PHLY presented by Xfinity. But Xfinity, not only are they great sponsors, they're the ultimate sports destination. Whether you're watching Sunday football, whether you're watching, if you can find it, some hockey preseason, or whether you're getting ready for Red October, the only way to watch sports is on Xfinity. You get live updates and stats right on your screen. I can't think of a better way to watch every single game. And the 4K picture and sound, it's so clear you feel like you're at the game yourself. I can't think of a better way to watch Xfinity. You need, if you're a sports fan, to get Xfinity. So next game day, make sure you can actually call yourself a big fan and not a big fail. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Restrictions apply. Multi-view requires Xfinity 4K capable TV box. All right, time to hit some birds. It's some obligatory Eagles. And we talked a little yesterday about how the season, maybe there's been a little luck involved starting out 3-0. Now, I don't look at a blocked field goal to win the game as luck. Not when Jordan Davis did it twice in a row, and that's called a competitive advantage. That's why you have a 330-pound first-round defensive tackle to make plays like that in big situations, whether they're on defense, like the sack he had to stop Stafford from getting to the first down marker, or blocking a field goal like he did twice and then returning the second one for a touchdown. But okay, let's say that Travis Kelce interception that popped out of his hands into Makuba's arms. Let's say that was luck, sure. But finding a way to win is a skill. The Eagles have won 19 of 20. I mean, at a certain point, it's not luck. I will say, though, going to Tampa on Sunday, a place they have struggled so much, if they're able to pull out a win there against what is a pretty damn good team, I wouldn't say they're superstar-laden, but they have a lot of really good players, and they've had the Eagles' number. I think that would go a long way in showing that this is more last year's version of the Eagles, finding a way to win whatever game style you want to play, we can match and beat you, rather than the 2023 version, which was a little bit, okay, we're winning some rock fights. We are 10-1, but are we really as good as our record? You could see it coming a little in 2023. I think going there is going to Tampa, coming away any way you want with a W is maybe the last hurdle for this team mentally to get back to where they were when they were running on all cylinders last season. I don't think this is a must-win from a standing standpoint. We talked about this yesterday. We talked about it last week. After you start 2-0, you needed to win one of two. In the weeks 3 and 4, you beat the Rams, a playoff team. You did it. Well done. Now it's not as if 3-1 versus 4-0 is really going to kill you. First quarter of the season, 3-1, you were on a hell of a pace. That's great. But from the mental from the mental standpoint of this team has owned us. I go back to that playoff matchup against the Bucs a couple of years ago. The very last tush-push attempt of Jason Kelce's illustrious career stopped by the Buccaneers. It just feels like they have whatever that little bit extra is that the Eagles aren't able to overcome. So I do think this is a big mental test, even though the game in the standings isn't the most important thing in the world. And while I did start the show with a new strategy for the Eagles, basically to piss off the entire league, maybe this week isn't the week for my tush-push strategy. Like I said, with Vita Vea, they have had more success pretty much more than any team against the tush-push. And not only do the Buccaneers have Vita Vea, they just brought back in Desmond Watson to their practice squad. If you're wondering who the hell is Desmond Watson, he is a 6'6" defensive tackle, undrafted free agent they signed back in April, who for most of the preseason and training camp was on the injured reserve list, not able to participate because of his conditioning and weight. Why? Because he weighed in at his pro day at 464 pounds, and he was 449 when he signed with the Bucs back in April. We're talking about a 450-pound man they just brought in to play defensive tackle. Now, right now, he's only on their practice squad. But Watson, they brought him back after cutting him at the end of camp. He participated in the offseason program, spent all of training camp and the preseason on the non-football injury list due to his weight and conditioning. The Bucs released him as part of the late August roster cuts, but the door wasn't closed on an eventual return, which is obvious. They brought him back. And on Friday, Watson had a tryout with the team, and it's reported that he had lost significant weight and that he was in much better shape. That could very well be true, but I can't imagine he went from 449 down below 400, and even if he's at 380, that is a ridiculously sized man. You team him up with Vita Vea. This could be a very tough test for the Eagles' excellent short yardage play. So while I do want to see them try to embarrass the league into banning the play just so we can stop talking about it, this might not be the week. As much as I'm hoping this is a door for other big guys to maybe find their way back into the league, there's not a ton of 350+ pound dudes anymore. I am a little worried that the most effective thing that this team has done all season, other than Jake Elliott's kicking, is going to be nullified because they've had success against this play in the past, and they just brought in a 400+ pound dude to play next to Vita Vea, you would think, against the tush push. So maybe this isn't the week to try to do it on first, second, and third down as well. I'm looking forward to this game. I hate the Buccaneers. I know I come on every week and tell you about a different team I really hate, but hate fuels us here as Philadelphia sports fans. You know, the Mets, the Rams, the Buccaneers, they are all way up there. The Mets and Bucs really, they might be my top two because it's so hard. It's kind of like, yeah, you know, Cowboys suck and all that. It's kind of hard to hate a team that's just a laughingstock at this point. They've given up like 92 points in 3 games. They're an absolute freaking joke. It's kind of hard to drum up the same hatred I have for them the way I have like the Mets, who they really had the Phil's number there for a little bit. The Buccaneers, like I said, they're 3-1 in their last 4. They've all been down in Tampa. We're going to see them again. They beat them in the playoffs a couple of years ago. They beat them in that 0-2 NFC title game. They beat them to open the link. They thwarted an awesome comeback in 06. The Bucs are just a very hateable team. If you're a Philadelphia Eagles fan, I think I do hate them more than the Cowboys. I can't drum up that hatred for the Cowboys anymore because, like, who cares? They stink. They're, again, being held hostage by a delusional octogenarian. Who cares if they're worth $100 billion? They can barely beat the Giants, who decided, oh yeah, we're gonna start Jackson Dart against one of the best defenses in the league. More on that in a minute. But yeah, I am. This is a big one. I don't think it's big in the standings, but for where the Eagles are mentally, I really want to see what they have for this Bucs game. Looking forward to it on Sunday. And with that, let's take our second break. All right, it is time to tell you about our friends at Parx Casino, because whether your favorite team wins or not, there's always another way to win at Parx. I was actually checking out the Parx app today, playing some of their new games. They have slots based on the Goonies, which is really cool. A lot of pop culture stuff, as I tell you about every day. They've got all your favorite casino games right in the palm of your hand. And when I say all your favorites, I mean it. I'm talking blackjack, I'm talking roulette, I'm talking poker, baccarat, and hot online slots like 88 Fortunes and Cleopatra. It's all about turning your downtime into maybe a little bit of profit, having some fun. That's what it's all about at BetParx, and it's super easy to get on. And right now, new users get up to $1,000 casino bonus back if you're down in the first 24 hours. Go to betparx.com and download the app to enjoy all the action and excitement from the casino right at your fingertips. You must be 21 and in PA, Jersey, Maryland, or Michigan for BetParx. You love to play. You love to play. You play to win. You bet. BetParx. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. While we're here, I got to tell you about Ace Hardware Home Services and what they bring, because at Ace Hardware Home Services, whenever they get ready for the next job, they remember to bring experience. Their local plumbers and techs handle everything from repairs and seasonal maintenance to installation and upgrades. They bring understanding. They listen to your goals, and the job isn't completed until you're satisfied. And they bring helpful. They bring helpful to your home, because now they're not just the helpful home, the helpful hardware folks. They are the helpful home service and repair folks. They have free estimates on equipment installation and replacement with trusted advisors and options that are best suited to your home and your budget. And it's service you can trust, and your satisfaction is guaranteed, because everybody who works for Ace is local. The teams live and serve in their community and are dedicated to keeping their neighbors comfortable in their homes. To learn more, just visit Ace Hardware Home Services online at acehardwarehomeservices.com to get started on your next project. All right, it's time for a little Matz Hates Mornings, because I come in early to work today because there's a barber shop right downstairs. And I'm thinking, there's this like salon Ava's had me go to. I've had like 2 haircuts since I got rid of the super long hair. And I'm just like, I'm not spending this much money on a haircut. I know it looked good. I'm happy with the work they did. But I'm not spending upwards of $50 on a haircut. That seems insane to me. Like, even for most of the last 8-10 years, I've grown my hair really long. And when I did cut it, I had a friend who's kind of a barber do it, or I'd go to Great Clips and pay like $14 or whatever it is. So I check out the place downstairs. Seems really cool. They're always playing good music. Everyone there seems cool. But it is also way more than I think I should be spending on a haircut. Is this just what it costs? Like, is this just one of those things that, like, I remember haircuts being like $15 to $25 when I was a little kid, and that's just not what they cost anymore? I guess I'm willing to accept that, because I haven't really paid for one in over a decade, other than like recently, and I just thought I was paying like a salon upcharge. But this place downstairs is like a cool barber shop, and they're also I know I feel like an old man yelling at clouds, but like how can a haircut cost $45, $50? It doesn't seem like it should cost that much. And when it does, what am I expected to tip? Is that 20% on top of the 40? Is that like the service outweighs like the actual price of the service includes the tip? Or is that another like $15, $20 that I have to throw in there? Women do have it so much worse. I don't doubt that. I know that to be true. I realize anything for a woman just costs more. Like the price of my deodorant versus Ava's deodorant, I'm like, it's the same thing. Like, what do you mean? Like, our shampoo. Why is your shampoo more expensive than mine? I get it. I understand that it's worse, but I just don't fully understand why everything has to be this much money. I'm confused by it. Maybe it's just one of those things you have to make do, or maybe I'll go back to cutting my own hair. I did that a couple of times. It didn't go well, but I assume it's something you get better at with practice. All right, just a little Matz Hates Mornings for you there. I do want to hit That's Not Sports, because it's a conversation I had with my wife yesterday. So my birthday is Thursday, and Ava asked me what I want to do on Thursday or maybe over the weekend for my birthday. And I had very simple answer. Very simple answer. I don't want a big party. Maybe we can go out, get a drink or whatever, but we don't even need a huge dinner or anything. I want to eat some edibles and watch a bunch of Fast and Furious movies. That's it. And she is really taken aback by my sudden interest in Fast and Furious movies. We'll be like watching something and she'll fall asleep on the couch, and next thing you know, like Tokyo Drift will be on. I have now watched the first 3, and it is my goal to watch the whole franchise in the next few weeks. And I really don't know why. I just really want to watch all the Fast and Furious movies to see why they keep making them. Like, I love a big dumb movie. I know I told you like a week or two ago, I went and saw The Roses, and it's like one of the funniest, like best films I've seen in a while. There's room for good movies in my life, but my favorite thing is a big dumb movie. I mean, I'm wearing a Club Dread t-shirt. I want a big stupid movie, and I think there's probably nothing bigger or stupider than the Fast and Furious franchise, and I want to know how the hell they've made like 12 of them. Between a couple of different streaming services, they're all available for stuff I already pay for, so I might as well. I just want to know how the hell this became one of the biggest freaking things in the world. They wouldn't still be making them if they weren't profitable, and I just kind of want to know how the hell they got this popular. So that's how I want to spend my birthday, with like a bunch of hashables and the Fast and the Furious franchise. Knock out like 3 or 4 of them. Maybe throw Hobbs and Shaw in there as well. I like a big dumb movie, and that's how I want to spend my birthday. All right, a few minutes left here. Let's hit on this date. I wanted to do this with Tyler because he just has such great insights on baseball. But on this date in 1983, Steve Carlton, Phillies superstar, Hall of Fame pitcher Steve Carlton, pitches 8 innings, strikes out 12, gives up 2 runs to earn the 300th win of his career. It's a 6-2 Phillies win over the Cards. And it's interesting because the Cardinals are the team, of course, that traded Steve Carlton to the Phillies back in the 70s. Prior to the 72 season, it was Rick Wise to St. Louis for Steve Carlton. And Steve Carlton's numbers, it's just, you talk about how sports have changed over the years. Steve Carlton's numbers are uneffing believable when you really look at them. In 83, he's not even a Cy Young finalist, no MVP votes or anything. He wins the Cy Young the year before in 82. He goes 23-11 in 38 starts. Pitches almost 296 innings, strikes out 286. Not quite as great the following year, but it was still just 37 starts for Carlton, 283 and 2/3 innings pitched, 277 hits allowed, 275 strikeouts. All these numbers led the league. And batters faced almost 1,200, led the league in strikeouts per 9 at 8.7. These are not numbers that exist anymore. And it got me thinking, like, all right, Clayton Kershaw, kind of the last era of the last remaining, like, stud pitcher, workhorse guy. He's going to call it a career at the end of this season. He's got 222 career wins. Steve Carlton ended on this date in 83. He picked up his 300th. He ended up with 329 career wins, and you see that was, I think, like the early October Sports Illustrated from that year, talking about lefty getting number 300. It's unbelievable, and they go on to win the NL that year. They go to the World Series. They lose to the Orioles, and that was kind of it for 10 years for Phillies baseball. So one of the last great seasons prior to the 21st century for the Phils. But it's just insane how much pitching has changed when you look at a guy going 283 and 2/3 and striking out 275 batters, doesn't get a Cy Young vote. Absolutely insane. 300 wins, and now it's like, yeah, guys get to 200, and that's a huge change. It's just really crazy how much that one position has changed over the years. All right, that is all the time we have for you on Philadelphia today. Make sure you stay right here on the PHLY YouTube. 4 o'clock, I will be back with the PHLY Flyers show. Tune in for that. Make sure you're following us right here on the YouTube page. Hit the like button. Do it. It makes us happy when you give us the likes. Why would you watch something you don't like? Hit the button. It just makes sense. You'll feel smarter. Follow me on Twitter at Philadelphia PHLY. There's only one L. It was a character thing. And follow the podcast. Just search Philadelphia wherever you get your podcast. That's it. Make sure you make your donations to the Big Brothers, Big Sisters. My name is Bill Matz. Thank you to Brenna. Till tomorrow, be excellent to each other.
We all silly like the mayor.